am back. Sorry about the random end of the first stream, but I am back. And we are still in the court case, and we just figured out a little something. So, we figured out that the water from the water tank has something to do with this. The vase water covered something up. So let's continue.
In other words, you believe that he knew nothing of the incident? That's right!
Moreover, I believe my opposition's reasoning is flawed.
My reasoning?
Oh. It put me back a little bit, so we gotta go back.
Then if Howell hadn't, assuming that what you say is...
I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit, because we already saw this.
Your denial is... Of course... You're saying that he wasn't? That's right! Lyney, what this means that the saying clue... To think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Lyney who committed the crime, then who was it?
The murderer was.
The deceased's name is Cowell.
Cowell. It's Cowell.
Huh? That can't be right. Are you serious? Oh, is that so? How interesting! What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator to victim.
How can...
Lyney was not in the tunnel at...
He was not in the tunnel.
The sound we heard may have come from... The deceased's name is Cowell. Lyney's... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel.
Oh, it's not that. It is the bed.
It would have been tough for both people.
It's none of these. Oh, right. Yeah, it's none of these. That's when we find out, like, about the water stuff.
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring things out?
Look, since we're at a dead end, just like the trick is it...
If only we knew how Halsey disappeared. Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3 exits, and none of them seem very... But it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make...
Escaping from the water tank.
Excuse...
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Hold on a second.
Lyney was not in the tunnel at that moment.
Yeah,
The
Lyney
sounds
was
we
not
heard
in the
may have
tunnel.
come from a... The deceased's name is Cowell, Lyney's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment. The vase
water.
was not broken. Paimon gets it! It all comes together if Halsey disappeared instead of being kidnapped. Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes behind. If there's a similar method where a person could be transformed into water... Just a moment, please. I do hope you know how preposterous you sound at the moment. How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about here, not some magic trick.
I request that we examine Cowell's personal effects.
Must we really? I should think that of anyone. Your friend Lyney already knows this truth very well. Magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and misdirection. But Halsey's disappearance is very real. We're talking about two completely different things.
Even so, I trust the Traveler's judgment. The truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may open if we try to gather all the focal points that don't make sense. Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings, would it?
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end of the rope. The way I see it, your suggestion that we broaden the scope of our investigation is nothing but a tactic for stalling the trial.
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional evidence may help us make more progress. Guards, please step into the lounge and examine the personal effects of the deceased, Cowell.
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel must be shared with everyone post-haste. We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled separately. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are water from the primordial sea.
The primordial sea.
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice. The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve appears many times. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. It is empty. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as some sort of test subject. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact, supported by sufficient evidence.
You've got to be kidding! People dissolving into water?
Could something so ridiculous actually be true?
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy, but it's just a coincidence, isn't it?
Huh. If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowell was targeting that girl... Wait just a minute. Could that mean... You two, with me, quick!
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partners?
Let's go. Just trust me.
Order! Order!
It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effects has yielded some surprising results, but we cannot yet verify the veracity of these clues. Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic, albeit with the understanding that Ms. Halsey has yet to be found. Guards, please continue examining the items along these lines. Mr. Lyney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence, so please continue speaking.
Of course. Thank you, Your Honor. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case is seemingly unrelated.
I like the music here too. It's like good music for this trial.
Like the metal hook! That one didn't make sense at all. Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from the primordial sea.
Alright. Who is the prime suspect currently?
The deceased's name
Cowell.
is Cowell, Lyney's assistant.
What item did the culprit use to control the timing of the dissolution?
Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. Did she have something? I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box.
What item did the culprit use to dissolve Halsey?
The water from the primordial sea should already...
What item did the culprit use to hide the mechanism behind the crime?
Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire... Now it seems like the hook rope was not...
Two of them are wrong. Alright, so... What item did the culprit
The rope
use?
that strung the water to...
That.
I remember
then-
there was something else within the inner layer.
That, right. Okay, that one's right, that one's wrong.
Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic trick, but was instead...
Is it that? It is! Alright. We're finding out more stuff. Alright. Let's continue forth with the trial.
It's Ace Detective Paimon's time to shine again!
Paimon, please take off that mustache!
Cowl would tamper with the water tank rope, and the number selector securing his target. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box. When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial seed inside it would pour down and dissolve Halsey. Afterward, Cowl would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water tank on stage. But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel, and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use to cover his tracks.
Huh. That does make sense.
Ah.
That actually links together a lot of the more confusing pieces of evidence.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now. Have I falsely accused an innocent person? What a humiliation.
Now, it seems like the only point of contention remaining is the exact circumstances that led to Cal's death. His notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related to the situation.
The other assistant.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that they uncovered new evidence. I shall now invite him on stage to share it with us.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting the luggage of the other people involved in this case. And we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea among Lyney's personal effects.
Lyney?
What?
That can't be. Oh, I see. Well, how wonderfully comedic to have your own counterattack only to come back and wound you. Does this
I
not
hate
clear all
Farina
doubt?
so much with her attitude.
Dear citizens, my loyal audience, allow me to present my reasoning and bring this performance to a swift close.
Oh god, here we go. Here's another one of these things that we have to figure out.
Lyney did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all. Indeed, he did leave the scene via the vent. Having made modifications to the props beforehand, his accomplice Cowl then caused Halsey to vanish using the water from the primordial sea. But upon his return, in cruel avarice, Lyney desired sole credit and prepared to do away with his partner in crime. Ultimately, he knocked Cowell out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also became a murder weapon. Now, as much as I regret having come to such a viciously straightforward conclusion, it does seem that the famed Fatui is quite the cold-blooded and ruthless organization.
Oh, God.
Am I right, Mr. Lyney?
We've used up all the evidence we collected. There's no way for us to make a rebuttal here. Is this the end of the road?
We have something, don't we?
Oh no. Paimon can't think of anything either.
Oh no, please don't get Lyney killed.
Seems using the water as new evidence was too good a move. Why did this have to happen now? I think we've all seen enough now, and we have ample witnesses to my flawless reasoning. I believe this is indeed the finale. Now then, my good, noble Chief Justice, should we not, in your view, move... excuse me, everyone, but I must interject.
Miss, I must ask you not to shout, and to respect the ongoing legal proceedings.
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from all this debate and see a little magic? I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the flesh, right before your very eyes. Please, do the honors, Mr. Lyney, if you would be so kind.
What in the world is she saying?
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are beyond my scope as a magician.
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? It often conceals the truth while presenting a fascinating illusion. But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous finale to today's performance? Come on, Lyney and Lynette. Give it another go. Don't worry. Spina di Rasula has made the necessary arrangements on your behalf. But, as the magic makers and stars of the show, I think I should leave the final performance to you.
I understand.
And voila.
She's back? Oh yeah, there she is.
Sorry for the interruption.
Wait, isn't that Halsey? So the whole thing about people dissolving wasn't true after all?
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence. I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the one put on trial. I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me, and then before I knew it, she caught me.
Oh, so it was you.
That'll teach you to underestimate us three.
Where should I begin?
She's the one who killed Cowell.
I'm
Oh.
the one who killed Cowell. I
Ah.
admit it.
What? Why?
Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt. I heard that Lyney's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy a ticket, so I stole one. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there, and I'd never been caught before. But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away. Lyney was the one who caught me in the act.
Oh, it's the chick who was stealing.
Hey, no wonder you look familiar. So you were the thief. Lyney even mentioned that you were pretty skilled.
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector chose me. He even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. I thought he was on to me for sure. So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee, but then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then someone jumped into the tunnel to nab me. I wasn't going to take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing performance costumes. I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Can a person even hide in there?
A professional thief could make it work.
But I swear, I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Really, I swear it. Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm no killer.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
Yeah, now it's time to refute the Hydro Archon's previous reasoning.
This time, we need to tell the entire story from Lillian's perspective.
No, that one doesn't work. Is it the random number selected? No, it's the hook. Oh, it's not. Wait. It's the only one with blue text.
The strange sound wasn't...
Oh, she made the loud sound.
The flower vase was not broken to cover anything up, but was smashed during the struggle.
Yes, I am Ace Attorney right now, Mika. I am Ace Attorney. Ah, damn. Doesn't belong there. It belongs here.
Lillian was afraid that she would be recognized if she left, so she changed clothes and hid, biding her time.
Oh, that's it.
And it's Ace Detective time! Having been selected out of the blue, Lillian panicked. Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. So she kicked the door open, producing the thud we all heard. Hearing the commotion, Cowl leapt into the tunnel, only to discover that Lillian had not dissolved. He did not know that Lillian was not from Fontaine, but was a thief who made her way in by stealing a ticket. Mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed time to take effect, he tried to force Lillian back into the box. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle, but Lillian came out on top, knocking Cowl out and putting him in the box. With no way of escaping, she changed her clothes and hid in the costume trunk until the performance ended.
Alright. It's full circle now.
She knew that she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward. So, she has been trapped in the opera house these last 2 days.
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped 2 of them right under our noses.
Oh.
About a sneaky thief.
At this point, all the events that happened in the tunnel have now come to light.
Ah, so that's the whole story.
Bravo! Bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina, do you wish to speak against the defense's statements? Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As such, I request that the prosecution not leave the room before the proceedings have concluded.
What? Are you reading my mind now?
Oh.
No,
I have no further arguments. I admit defeat. But really, could you at least have left me with some dignity?
Wow. Look at that. She's like a deflated balloon now.
Don't call her a
If there are
deflated
no
balloon.
objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall once again repeat the full sequence of events. The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the audience reservation list. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be chosen. To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind after the young woman was dissolved. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide the watermarks. He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box, and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to said box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing the water. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lillian was not from Fontaine, and thus fled the box with a loud noise.
Oh, so if she was
Realizing that there
Fontainian,
was trouble,
she would have
Cowell
been
entered the
dissolved.
tunnel and met Lillian. Thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect, he decided to proceed. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed into the magic box, and thus became his own final victim. Lillian, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Lyney, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Lyney, the accused, is in fact innocent. While there is much in Lyney and Lillian's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision.
Alright.
As such, Lyney and Lynette are officially declared not guilty.
Yay!
Great work, partners.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Let's not celebrate just yet.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial sea in Lyney's baggage?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know. Or was that not a discovery, but false evidence that you dared to
He
bring
was
before this court?
the accomplice, wasn't
I
he?
suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Lyney, but you, yes?
It is!
I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Coupon Town.
How many trials are there, Mika?
We were
How
supposed
many?
to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Lyney, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, you have become a liability to said higher-ups, yes? Therefore, you would be wise to tell everything you know, and seek the protection of the guards.
Yes, I'll tell you everything I know. Our boss discovered that the water can cause people to dissolve. It can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience unforgettable exhilaration. We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent more off it. The disappearances were also the boss's idea. I mean, this is the boss we're talking about. The...
What the What? He He turned into water.
Now he can no longer talk.
Such ruthlessness. I shouldn't have expected any less of them.
Bro, I did not expect that.
All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
So,
Me
we're
neither.
just going back now?
The problem seems to have been solved for now.
That's true, but
Traveler, Paimon, please wait.
Lyney.
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you don't even want to look at me. But still, let me thank you again for defending me to the end. Even after you learned that I'm a member of the Fatui.
I just didn't wish to see anyone be falsely accused.
I guess. But regardless, I'd like the opportunity to set things straight. I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoken to you as myself, just plain Lyney this entire time. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of an orphan like me. That's all. That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back then too.
The knave? The one who controls the House of the Hearth? She's your father?
That's right. And since we're here, I was wondering, would you mind hearing a story? It's about my past. Back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were left wandering the streets. To survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. It took me several days to figure out how he pulled off his amazing tricks. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and we began to perform magic tricks there. To my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come from for a time. But I didn't want my sister to remain a street rat together with me forever. Before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that he wished to take us in after watching my performances.
So you went from orphans to nobility just like that?
That was how we felt at first too. As if fate was on our side and we could say goodbye to those painful days. But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he was really after my talent for magic tricks. He would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention, which he would then use to expand his social circles.
No,
that
that's
doesn't
messed
seem too
up.
bad either. Better than roaming the streets at any rate.
It took a while for me to realize just how dark his heart really was. After one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that Lynette was not on the same return vehicle as me. I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back. I went to that noble's bedroom and asked him about her whereabouts. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to perform your magic regardless of who your assistant is, yes?
Oh no. So he was gonna... But wouldn't Fontaine's laws deal with such people?
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care, and they have their ways of escaping the eye of the law.
So what happened after that?
I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person and hurried through the night. But by the time I leaped over the walls, avoided the guards, and made my way in, all I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood, and the knave standing there in the darkness.
So, she'd already taken care of that guy.
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a basement, all of them orphans. Father, I mean the knave, might have seen something in me, and so she made me an offer.
Is the name of a man or a woman?
The
because
House of the Hearth welcomes you.
Lyney keeps
for
calling
your
them
interests
father.
align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you. Indeed, betrayal shall never be permitted here. I was hesitant to trust her. I mean, I had just been betrayed by nobles. But she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first, giving us back our freedom.
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
Then why does Lyney keep calling her father? The knave is after the Gnosis, isn't she?
She has her own plans. She has gained permission from the Tsaritsa to first use the Gnosis' power once she obtains it. She plans to use it to find a way to break the prophecy and save Fontaine.
So, she believes in that prophecy too?
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to combat that crisis. Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve into some sort of water, thus further supporting the prophecy. Everyone at Hotel Bouffe d'été, including the knave, has their roots in Fontaine. And we will always defend our homeland. To us orphans,
Oh yeah, that
the
is
only
true.
connection we have left
She
to
likes
this
being
world,
called
apart from our
daddy.
family, is our homeland.
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets to huge schemes like stealing a Gnosis, everything is aimed at dealing with that prophecy.
Oh wow. Of course you would, Mika.
It's alright. I understand. The only thing I can do is relate
Also,
all
don't
this
mind
to
the
you.
dog in the back.
I
That's
just
just
hope
because
you
my
can
mom is
understand
home.
that even as a member of the house, I have never stopped making my own decisions, and that I believe what I'm doing is right. If you should need anything at all in the future, feel free to find me. I will do my best to help you, as plain Lyney.
I understand.
Bye, Lyney!
Woof. Woof, woof, woof. No, my dogs are more of... Ah! That's more of my dogs. Leave the opera house.
Hey there. What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us, Navia?
Apparently.
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial disappearances case, though. Don't you think so, too?
I'm sorry, Nadia.
Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
I wasn't necessarily looking into the serial disappearances case.
Besides, are you sure we're the ones who can crack a case that's been cold for decades now? And given that there's new evidence from the trial, there should be a trail of breadcrumbs for the Hydro Archon's people to follow now, right?
Ah,
Aww.
I see. Well, I won't lie. I'm a little shocked to hear that from you. But I suppose you are just travelers who have only arrived in Fontaine after all. Sorry. I might have been too presumptuous.
Don't say that, Navia.
Ah, and we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. It was like having new waters flowing into a stagnant mire, causing new hope to spring forth, and the reflection in the murk to become clearer. Sorry about that. I'm a bit prone to nostalgia. Don't mind me. Wait, shall we have a farewell meal? You know, to commemorate our time as partners?
Huh? Do we really need to get that formal? Well, guess you really did treat us as partners, huh?
Well, I'd just like to have a proper ending to every important memory. That way there are no regrets later. Anyway, it would just be a meal, so it shouldn't take up too much of your time.
Let's go have that meal then.
You don't have to twist Paimon's arm. If Boss Navi is treating, count Paimon in.
Alright, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go make myself some dinner. I am back. Hello. We are back. Let's continue.
Oh, wonderful. In that case, why don't we return to the Court of Fontaine and head to the Hotel de Boer? I believe we'll make it just in time for dinner.
All right then, let's have our farewell meal.
Alright. Oh no, I'm still like making my dinner. It just takes 17 minutes in the air fryer, so I'm like doing this for like another 17 minutes and then I'm gonna go and eat. But yeah, I'm here now. That's all that matters. I like how I'm in a Discord call with like 3 other people, but I'm like deafened. Alright. We gotta go this way. Oh, that's a lot farther away than I thought it would be. Oh yeah, it's back at the Court of Fontaine. Who's trying to join me? Who are you?
I came here several times with my father when I was little, but stopped eating here as often after growing up. I hope the food here will be to your taste.
Oh, don't worry. We haven't eaten at a hotel like this in a while. Paimon's getting excited already.
In that case, I'll go order for us first. Please wait here a moment.
Ooh, everything looks so good. People in Fontaine sure know how to enjoy life.
There's lasagna!
Of course. Go ahead, try whatever you like. If the food's good, I'll make a group reservation for the rest of Spina di Rosula next time.
I thought this was France. Why is there pasta? This ain't Italy.
Then I'll still bring everyone. Albeit with only 1 dish per table.
Yeah. Sure have your own way of doing things. Oh, we called this a farewell meal, but we could also treat it like a victory feast, right? We did just win that case after all.
It's certainly worth celebrating.
Oh, true. Very true. In that case, boss, we'll have another 2 dishes.
Huh? Paimon didn't mean that you had to order even more food. Speaking of cases, do you think that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances will get caught soon now that this has all happened?
Well, we've certainly taken a big step forward, but I feel that's about it. We know that there's an organization that means to dissolve these young women, but we still don't know what they are really after.
If it hadn't happened right in front of us, Paimon wouldn't have ever believed that a person could be dissolved like that.
Right? Yet it was because this was such a preposterous notion that the investigation could never really move forward before.
Ugh. If only that guy could have finished speaking! We were so close to hearing who was behind it.
In such investigations, even the smallest step can seem like a yawning chasm if the trail of clues is cut off. To be honest, I don't have high hopes for any follow-up that the authorities might conduct. It's not that I don't have faith in their ability, it's just that a different perspective is required in some matters. It's easy to guard against and deceive a single narrow perspective. A shift in thinking is required at such times in order to produce a breakthrough, which is exactly why the Spina di Rosula exist. Those highfalutin folk are not all-knowing. That's why we exist. To seep into the cracks where filth falls through, where their watch fails them. That's the kind of problems we solve.
Seems Paimon thought things were simpler than they actually are.
It's all right. Well, this was supposed to be a farewell meal, so I doubt you have further interest in this business, right? Let's talk about something else. Like, what are your future plans?
We wanted to ask the Hydro Archon some information.
That's true. We didn't have a chance to speak to her after the trial ended. It didn't really seem like the right time or place to do it anyway.
I see. So, your primary objective, which has been foiled so far, was to have a chat with the Hydro Archon. I've heard that there's a long line of people waiting to meet Lady Farina. I suspect you'll be waiting for quite a while, considering that you missed your chance today.
Yeah, we've heard that she's super popular here in Fontaine, and that it'll be tough getting any of her time.
Well, would you consider some more, unique ways? Perhaps even methods of, let's say, questionable legality?
Guess that's Spina di Rosula's boss for you. Chock full of sketchy ideas. Well, what did you have in mind?
Well, one way would be to infiltrate a performance troupe at the Opera House, only to abandon your act at the play's climax and ask to speak to her after the performance.
I just realized, where did all the lasagna go?
And would agree in order to finish.
How long has the lasagna been gone?
Could you suggest something a little more practical? This plan seems pretty hard to pull off. We'd have to go learn how to act, and acting's really hard.
Alright, here's another. Find a way to conceal yourselves under her bed. Then, wake her up in the dead of night and demand answers. Don't let her go back to sleep until she answers all your questions.
Why?
I personally testify that this one works. When I'm sleepy, I'll do anything as long as I can finally get some sleep.
Hold on, give me a second.
That might work, but that's not really the problem. The problem is we don't want to get ourselves arrested.
Valid point. I overlooked that part. I was just thinking about leveraging a person's desire for sleep. All right, no more joking around.
I'm back.
Perhaps you could... Oh, I don't know. Cut the line when she's on a break. You did defeat her in court, clearing citizens of hers from false accusations. False accusations she had nearly upheld personally. I imagine that she feels quite ashamed about the whole thing.
You mean that if we catch her while she's on a break, she might be too embarrassed to refuse? Oh, that does make some sense.
It's worth a try.
Why don't we give it a try after this meal? You know, strike while the iron is hot and all.
Huh? Paimon, did you drink my Fanta?
Was this your drink?
Fanta?
Sorry about that. Paimon wasn't really paying attention and the cup was right next to Paimon. Would you like to order another?
No, it's fine. We're just about done here.
Alright. wouldn't recommend Fanta anyway. It tastes kind of salty and icky.
My drink also tasted that way too.
Is that so? Huh. Well, in that case, we'll have to blacklist the Fanta here then. If we're all finished eating, then I'll go pay.
Fanta, yeah. Definitely not Fanta.
Oh, so full. Paimon can barely float anymore.
You could try walking, you know.
Nah, that would be so normal. You know, like you.
Fuck you, Paimon.
Okay. As for expenses this month, we're left with... Huh.
Hey, Navia, what are you doing over there?
Oh, nothing. It was just a meal, you know? Nothing the Spina di Rosula can't cover.
Let's get ready to try to meet the Hydro Archon again. Bye, Navia!
So this is goodbye, huh? Well, if you do encounter any other trouble in Fontaine, you're always welcome to contact the Spina di Rosula. I'll give your request the highest priority. In any case, I wish you smooth sailing. I'll see you again, partner.
See ya!
Bro. That actually might be where I leave it, since I did stream earlier and this was technically like 2 hours of stream time today. This is where I might like leave it off. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed so far, and we'll continue going through Fontaine tomorrow. Goodbye.